So I started looking for pictures of the concert, and I couldn't find anything. Things that just spiritually felt weird to me. And once you really start to dig in, and once you really start to understand what happened, there was a weird vibe. They were playing a frequency over and over and over and over.
They're a European organization for nuclear research.
They had this weird ceremony inside of a mountain in a tunnel.
What is that thing in the middle?
Portals, symbolism and the undeniable, self-evident truth that puts right before your eyes. Now we're finding out the police chief met with the rapper.
Before the investigators are even an hour into their investigation, you know that there's already a narrative.
That was a different kind of evil, different kind of darkness.
They were so squeezed against each other. One person falls down, another person falls down, another person falls down.
We don't know that people just died of stampedes.
It was mass chaos, and nobody could stop the show.
The symbolism is all around them. It's been all around them their entire life, and you need to wake up and bloody see it there, everywhere.
Welcome to the lounge, to the most anticipated episode of Dark Portals of CERN Revisited, the part 2, the official sequel. That's right. Welcome to the lounge, original series by Real Deal Media. I am your host, Dean Ryan, and you are watching the most shadow banned show on Facebook in the world, probably. It's probably a lot of people from what I'm hearing. So this is probably going to be one of our last few shows on Facebook, because I hate them with passion. And I hope they go into the dark portals of CERN, where they can just roast like chestnuts in Lucifer's kitchen. That's how I feel about that one. But we have quite the show tonight. Quite the show tonight for this part 2. A very highly anticipated sequel to the first installment of Dark Portals and our deep dive that we did in 2021, in the fall of it. And we have just seen so many twists and turns in this discovery and this great awakening of just major institutions and just very wicked ones at that have been embedded in societies across the world. A lot of people are discovering for the first time exactly where their tax dollars are going and saying, oh my word, we had no idea. And when you find the nucleus of it all, you have these institutions like CERN, which is partnering and has a partnership with the United Nations and the World Economic Forum, because if the question was, whatever happened to the Third Reich after 1945 in Germany? Well, to quote George Carlin, Germany lost World War II, but fascism won, and it just changed uniforms. So that's what we're going to be getting into tonight. As you know, since the CERN has now come about once again into the headlines just weeks ago, we've seen a lot of things come in wake of it. We've seen power shortages, outages, energy burst-ups, fires, brimstone for that fact, and just spur across the world. And the United States is a good example of that. So we have the right to know what's happening. We have the right and the birthright to defend our communities and our sovereignty the best way we see fit. But before you defeat the enemy, you have to understand and know who the enemy truly is. So doing that with me tonight, I have some of my colleagues here, my castmates here at Real Deal Media on the lounge. First, I want to introduce Jessie Whitney, who was with me just a week ago when Lisa Duthie was unavailable due to her power outage. Jessie, good to see you. Good to see you. Thank you for coming back with us tonight. Okay. Yes, Jessie is here, and she'll be doing sign language tonight. I can't wait. Also joining us is the one, the only Lisa Duthie. Lisa, how are you?
Good evening, I'm doing okay.
Alrighty.
I'm online this week.
Yes, yeah. You're not a hologram. And Jalumbo Duthie is going to be on the corner right pocket of your screen. He'll be a voice. He'll be joining us soon, but we're playing a little game called Silhouettes. We'll see
He's
if
punching his computer at the moment. He'll be here very soon.
Yeah, he's punching his computer. They got in a lover's quarrel, I think. But before we get started here, you know, a lot of things have developed today. Last week, it was the major development was the Guidestones, the Georgia Guidestones. Well, today, within the past 24 hours, as the CERN has now hit the headlines, well, there's a lot of weird things and anomalies taking place. So we did a little compilation and have a look at this, and we'll discuss what this really means before we get into the CERN rabbit hole. Here it is. Check it out.
This afternoon, the Secretary General and Klaus Schwab, the founder of the World Economic Forum, will witness the signing of a memorandum of understanding on a strategic partnership between the UN and the World Economic Forum, which outlines areas of cooperation to deepen engagement between the two institutions and to jointly accelerate the implementation of the 2030 Agenda.
My dad's gonna get
Let's
tricked.
get your video on that. There's just been an incident here.
My goodness, something's just blown up.
Explosion and a fire. We're going to be leaving now, so we don't get trapped in there.
Something has just blown up. Okay, so the Hoover Dam just exploded. It just happened. That does not look good. That's not good at all. Uh-oh. At the Hoover Dam, and it just exploded. Whoops. Jesus Christ. God damn.
Well, as you heard as you saw there, we saw, well, first of all, we saw World Economic Forum's Agenda 2030. I guess there's been a new declaration by Klaus Schwab himself. They're now accelerating the agenda, just like the reference of a poker tournament. When you're losing, you start doubling down, trying to get your chips back. So
They're not even
after
trying to
that
hide
was
it anymore.
After that was signed, then we saw fires in East London, because it's about 108 degrees to our knowledge from what we hear. Then we saw a fire in Hoover Dam. I mean, this is some insane stuff. Lisa, I got to go to you right away. As you saw with that little kid, Huckleberry Finn over there, saying, "Daggin it." This is some wild stuff for the UK, just for starters, isn't it?
Yeah, there's some crazy stuff going on. It's not just the UK, it's also going on throughout Europe. There's fires everywhere in Europe. I mean, yesterday, the runway melted at Luton Airport because it was that hot. The runway melted. It's ridiculous. Absolutely ridiculous.
And Jessie, I got to ask you, because, the Hoover Dam is the power grid for a good portion of the western states, in particularly Nevada. It's on the horizon of Las Vegas, which, as you know, uses a ton of electricity for the entire Vegas Strip, the casinos, and what have you. Is this seemingly looking like an attack on the U.S.? Because
I would say that there's a lot of implications that there's a lot of sabotage going on everywhere. This UN thing, I think, is very telling, the WEF UN thing, because people are becoming more and more aware of their actual agenda, which they've never really tried to hide it, but now they're almost being even more bold and more outward about it. Because like you said, it does seem like, I think they realize that the tables might be turning, that they're losing their grasp. They haven't completely lost their grasp, but they need to claw and pull and try to maintain some of that control. So there's a lot of tragedies and crises happening all at once, so that they can, you know how.
Yeah. And it seems, Lisa, before we jump into the abyss here, it seems like since from July 5th onward, we've seen some just historical and astronomical, just worldly events, haven't we? And I think it stems from CERN.
Yeah, as soon as he turned that thing on, some bizarre things are going to happen, starting with the Georgia Guidestones and up to today. Like, things melting and the whole of Europe basically on fire. Ever since he turned it on, it's all went to shit.
I mean, there's been a lot of weird stuff going on already, and I don't want to we didn't touch on this in the PowerPoint, and I wanted to get a chance that there's a theory going around, because on the live stream they had the monitors with the date on the monitor, and it was in the American date format, but it was April something 2022 on the screens, as if they were monitoring things in April. A lot of people think that they might have been turned on back in April, but they didn't tell us. Right. And now they're just pretending that they just did it now. So that's a theory out there. I don't know if it's true, but I saw the picture. I watched the live stream, and so it could have happened.
Yeah, so let's get into it, Lisa, and because when we last left off from the first part that we did roughly 6 months and change ago, it really was an awakening from the Travis Scott concert, which was totally modeled after a portal of CERN and all the people that died from it. And, just a quick follow-up to that, Travis Scott, the puppet, the Illuminati puppet, and the Babylonian whore of the Kardashian clandestine, he's been now canceled. Nobody wants the liability of insuring his concerts. Nobody wants the bad publicity either. But let's get into tonight's lounge of the Dark Portals of CERN Revisited, Part 2. Shall we?
Yeah, let's go for it.
All right, here we go. And by the way, Jamie's Life Matters, he will be popping in and out because he's dealing with his own portal there with his computer that seems to be against him and me as well. So just to let you know. Okay, shall we? Let's get into this now. All right, here we go.
I've got a raccoon. Right, yeah. Yeah, I'm going to start off by looking at Revelations, because this is very important. And think about CERN as I read this to you. The fifth angel sounded his trumpet, and I saw a star that had fallen from the sky to the earth. The star was given the key to the shaft of the abyss. When he opened the abyss, smoke rose from it like the smoke from a gigantic furnace. The sun and the sky were darkened by the smoke from the abyss. And out of the smoke, locusts came down on the earth and were given power like that of the scorpions of the earth. They were told not to harm the grass of the earth or any plant or tree, but only those people who did not have this seal of God on their foreheads. They were not allowed to kill them, but only torture them for 5 months. And the agony they suffered was like that of the sting of a scorpion when it strikes. The locusts looked like horses prepared for battle. On their heads they wore something like crowns of gold, and their faces resembled human faces. Their hair was like women's hair, and their teeth were like lions' teeth. They had breastplates like breastplates of iron, and the sound of their wings was like the thundering of many horses and the chariots rushing into battle. They had tails with stingers like scorpions, and in their tails they had the power to torment people for 5 months. They had as the king over them the angel of the abyss, whose name in Hebrew is Abaddon, and in Greek Apollon, the destroyer. And this will all start to make sense as we go through this slideshow, but it's very relevant.
Yes, it is very relevant. This is the Revelations ending they wanted. And you know, Lisa, just before this, I've also heard that the revelations and the manipulation, there might have been manipulation by a greater deep state from very long ago. Is that something we might be discovering as we go forward, Lisa?
Yeah, it'll be a surprise. There's some very interesting things, especially around the Shiva statue as well.
Okay, I love surprises. I love surprises. All right, let's get started here, shall we?
Yeah. So here we go. Dark Portals of CERN Revisited. And
that's right.
Jessie, do you want to get started?
Sure. All right. So, what is the Large Hadron Collider? The Large Hadron Collider is the world's largest and highest energy particle collider / accelerator. It was built by the European Organization for Nuclear Research, also known as, most of you guys know as CERN, between 1998 and 2008 in collaboration with over 10,000 scientists and hundreds of universities and laboratories, as well as more than 100 countries. It lies in a tunnel 27 kilometers in circumference and as deep as 175 meters, which is 574 feet, beneath the France-Switzerland border near Geneva.
Okay, so near Geneva in Switzerland. Okay, yeah, look at that.
Love Switzerland.
And how? So that's like what, the size of a huge tunnel, like a stadium, I would say, a football stadium.
It's bigger than that. It's 17 miles around.
17 miles. That's 17 miles right there.
That's not, but the whole thing goes 17 miles around, which is 27 kilometers. Yeah.
Okay, got it. Okay, let's continue here, shall we?
Yeah. So exactly what is it? Okay. A particle accelerator is a machine that propels charged particles to very high speed and energies using electromagnetic fields and contain them in well-defined beams. While most people have heard of the LHC at CERN, what they may not realize is that over the world there are more than 30,000 accelerators currently in operation. The LHC is just the largest of its particular kind. As well as the circular kind, there are many others, one of which is the linear accelerator, or LINACs for short. These are designed to hurl a beam of particles in a straight line. In general, the longer the LINAC, the more powerful the particle punch. The linear accelerator at SLAC, National Accelerator Laboratory near San Francisco, is the largest of its kind. Boom.
Yeah,
that's cut off at the bottom. That's actually 2 miles long in San Francisco, and that's the longest straight line one. They just fired it up a straight tunnel.
Yeah, and where's this picture where we're looking at again? Where is this located?
San Francisco.
That's in San Francisco.
Or outside San Francisco.
Or just outside of San Francisco.
Interesting they picked that, because that's, part of it goes into close to the Silicon Valley. There's a lot of CCP in the Bay Area. And then you have the world elites in Sun Valley, the valley in general, Silicon, the whole headquarters of Facebook, the most unfreest platform in the world. But let's continue, shall we?
Yeah, so moving on. Right, so that's cut the top off it. Basically, so what could go wrong? The media and scientists at CERN will consistently tell you that the LHC is safe, despite the fact it's a massive experiment based on theoretical physics, which they cannot definitively guarantee, because, as the name suggests, it's all theory. They do not know for sure what they are messing with. The LHC was turned on again on July the 5th, just a couple of weeks ago, and will remain in operation for 4 years, but these people actually have no idea what they are doing. The last time it was turned on, there was an accident caused by a slight defect in one of the giant magnets. This defect caused the temperature to rise in the system, which then caused over 100,000 volts to blow from tiny little copper wires. It was so bad that it actually made the 20-ton magnet jump 2 feet from its fixed position, causing severe damage. And that's the pictures of that. That's why it was being shut down, and it's only just been turned back on, because they had to fix it. They don't know what they're doing.
Now, this is interesting too. I have to raise this question because there's a lot of chatter that it was, around that date, July 5th, it was taken over by the supposed white hats, who then stopped a massive drilling of sorts that we're aware of, because there was a satanic holiday on July 6th, which is what they wanted to start it back up and then start their agenda. Have you guys heard about this at all?
I've heard about it, but I didn't hear that much about it.
Okay, I just want to throw that out there. And then I have actually someone that has dropped some massive intel. So I got my own surprises, Lisa. It's not just you. I have surprises for you as well.
Surprise! Yeah.
I'm back. Okay, here we go.
Yeah, next up, we're going to watch a quick little video about Professor Stephen Hawking. So I'll just take that off the screen a minute.
Yes. Stephen Hawking, who's no longer with us. And some people said he wasn't even real. But,
yeah, this video
I'm not sure about that.
This video is 1 minute long, and then we'll talk about it when we've finished watching it.
Hey everybody, I'm Patrick Jones, and welcome to Buzz 60. The God particle is basically how anything we know is able to have mass. It was confirmed to exist at the Large Hadron Collider in Europe. Hawking thinks the God particle not only has the power to giveth mass, but it can taketh away as well. Hawking says, theoretically, he thinks the God particle is very unstable at high energy levels, like those created in a large collider. Professor thinks it could break down and spread out, collapsing time and space onward, and we wouldn't see it coming. Basically, death to everything we know would spread outwards at the speed of light. The good news is that in order to get to that level of energy, the collider would need to be the size of Earth. As for humanity, if Hawking's right, he just raised the bar for our level of destructiveness. We're very good at torching Earth. Now we know we can ruin everything that is or ever would be. I don't want to brag, but God left a lot of survivors with his flood. Buzz 60, now you know, pass it on.
I don't like that guy.
He was a bit of an arrogant twat, but yeah.
It's so funny that he thinks he knows more than Stephen Hawking because someone told him.
He thinks he knows more than a genius. Bless him. Bless him.
Science is great until someone tells you that not to agree with that guy. So
trust the science. Okay, shall we continue?
Yeah.
Okay, here we go.
Right. So Professor Stephen Hawking said that theoretically the Higgs boson, or the God particle, is very unstable at high energies, and thinks it's possible for a large collider, like the God particle, could break down time and space itself, destroying everything. Now, if it's going to destroy everything with a larger collider, you've got to think, what's it actually doing? Is it having any impact with the one that they've got? And that's what we're going to look at.
Okay.
So who funds CERN?
That's right. I asked that question. Who funds CERN? Yes, tell us.
Yeah. The European Centre for Nuclear Research, CERN for short, is funded by its 23 member states, as well as some non-member states. The CERN Convention was signed in 1953 by the original 12 members, but has since been joined by various European countries. The member states make contributions to the capital and operating costs of the landmark labs programs, but also have a responsibility in important decisions about the organization. Japan and the US hold observer status with respect to the LHC, as do international organizations such as the European Union and UNESCO. And UNESCO is the United Nations Educational, Scientific and Cultural Organization. Surprise, surprise. The observer status of the Russian Federation is suspended in accordance with the CERN's Council resolution of the 8th of March. So, as we know, they've banned them from everything at the moment.
Yes. Yeah, the boogeyman. They need the boogeyman.
Yeah, so in 1997, the US signed an agreement to contribute 531 million to the LHC project, which costs around 4.75 billion in total. As well as the 23 members, there are 3 associate member states in the pre-stage to membership. These include Cyprus, Estonia, and Slovenia. Croatia, India, Latvia, Lithuania, Pakistan, Turkey, and Ukraine are all associate member states as well. So Ukraine is the most recent one to become an associate member state.
Of course.
Surprise, surprise!
Not
And there's a
really
little
weird
list-
and suspicious at all.
Little list on the other side there of the ones that are full member states. And as
I
you
would
can
just-
see,
So, what do you think most of these countries have in common? Can you pull up the list again, Lisa?
Yeah,
so we
good
can
good
look at
question.
it? Well,
we've got
let's do
Austria.
a little like connect the dots here and see like what we think
Well-
these states might have in common.
Well, for starters, you see Serbia, who just thinks they own everything that is of audio musical content. But here's what they have in common: is they're all their leaders are part of the World Economic Forum of sorts.
Yeah.
Israel, Italy, except now, as of in the past 48 hours onward and prior, I should say, a lot of these leaders have now resigned. UK resigned. Italy, Prime Minister, gone. Netherlands, gone. Serbia, gone. And I actually have some breaking intel is I can tell you now the Turkish troops have now entered Syria. Syria as of yesterday. I didn't get a chance to tell anyone. And why is that? Because now that part of the region are all going to go on Russian oil, on Russian petroleum and gas. In Saudi Arabia, who was using ISIS to clear the pathway to make their pipeline go through Syria, that's what the whole Syrian conflict was about during the Obama time. And that's why Biden went to Saudi Arabia days and days ago. So that's the big commotion right now, amongst other things. But let's continue on this path here.
Yeah, so that is your member states. And we couldn't talk about CERN without talking about its logo. So satanic symbolism. Yeah.
Yeah. Look at that.
Is it a coincidence that the logo for CERN so brazenly displays the number of the beast, 666? Like many other companies, they use this satanic symbolism right in front of our faces and then plead ignorance. And there's some of the other ones. You've got Monster Energy, Lucius, the American Medical Association, which you will see if you look at the snake, it's 666 all the way down. Google, you've got 666, you've got it in Ford, you've got it in Disney. There is much more, but that was just a couple of examples. They've got this all over the place. It's right in your face.
Now, let me ask a question to Jessie Whitney. Is what do we know about the American Medical Association in this great pandemic right now?
We just know they're severely compromised.
Well, here's the quick answer too. Is it was the AMA that was giving $13,000 that we know of for each new infection in the hospitals as of 2020, and then upward as little as 39,000 US dollars to hospitals for each death related in signed, sealed, and delivered as what we know as the virus from the deep state bat that loved us. So that's the American Medical Association. Now we know who they're connected to, and that's why I don't drink Monster either. Terrible.
Yeah.
Okay.
So apart from the fact that they've got a satanic symbolism in their logo, it's very important to note the statue that they've got right bang outside, and that's going to be very important over the next few slides, and that is Shiva, the goddess or god of destruction, and we'll get into why it's both a goddess and a god, which is very interesting. So outside the headquarters of CERN, there is a dancing Shiva statue. Shiva is referred to as both god and goddess, one side representing the feminine and one side representing the masculine. This speaks to the duality and the conflicts between man and woman. One could argue this also symbolizes confusion about gender identity and biological sex, which is very prevalent in today's society. Shiva is a destroyer, which is a bizarre choice for a scientific institute who claims they are not trying to create a black hole which could destroy the universe. Basically, we're not going to destroy anything, but we'll use Shiva the destroyer right bang outside. And next up, we need to look at the next video, which is showing you the Gotthard Tunnel, which we got into in part 1. Another couple of clips of the ceremony they done around that. The first video, we're going to look at what happened indoors, because it was a two-part ceremony. They done it indoors, and then they got all the audience to come outside, and then another. It was like 2 hours inside, and then they make everybody get out of their chairs, go outside into a different a part of the complex, sit down, and watch another 2 hours of crazy BS. Basically,
and they're filming this, and they're filming all this.
They filmed
They're
it.
proud
But it's
of
very
it.
hard.
They were very proud of it.
Yeah, they're very proud of it. So we're going to watch, first of all, a little clip of the indoor part and then the outdoor part, then we'll talk about it.
Okay, let's go.
I'm excited.
So, here is the indoor part.
Wow, the choreography.
That was a very small glimpse, but I watched the entire thing.
After
long was
watching
it?
it again today, for the second time, there is something really concerning about the giant baby head with the wings. The guy, like he looked like he was in a diaper and a giant just like I don't know, on ropes or whatever, swinging around. And he had this giant gray, like almost looked like the Gerber baby head, and he had like wings, and the guys are crawling around under him. It looked really creepy, and I'm wondering if that's supposed to represent all the maybe everybody's obsession with abortion. They don't realize it's actually human sacrifice. you know?
Yeah.
It's what it looked like, almost something like that.
So here, my understanding is this is from the part one that we did, where we saw the outside event that they were proud of in kind of a concert stadium setting. This is like a second part that they have inside. Is that correct?
No, that was the first. That was the first part. It was all done on the same day. They had the audience there, and they were all inside the tunnel, because it was for the opening of this high-speed rail tunnel in Switzerland.
Yeah,
which is very close to CERN. They done like 2 hours inside. It was all bizarre and weird, and then they made the whole audience get up out of their seats, go to a different part of the area outside, and then another part. I watched the whole thing last week.
Okay, interesting.
It's weird. I'll tell you what I think about it after you've seen the next video.
Yes, and before we go into this next video, I want to bring this up real quick, because I said July 6th, some satanic holiday, but we're talking about big events coming to the world here in July. There's a lot of talk of the nuclear, which we talked about on Late Night Update. But look at this here. Something could be happening July 25th. And if you're watching this in replay after July 25th, I apologize already if it hasn't happened. But this is coming out of the satanic holiday calendar. Not that I have, but it's right here on the website. Here it is. Look at it. It's called the Unveiling Day, July 25th, celebration of religious plurality and shedding of the archaic superstition, centerpiece of religious movements, iconic modern Satanism. The Baphomet with children's statue was commissioned by the temple, yada, yada. And so there it is. It's going to be devotees in Detroit. If you're in Detroit, well, I guess you have something to hide from or celebrate, depending on which side of the Satanic Temple you stand on. But just wanted to bring that to your attention. But let's get into the part 2 here of their little choreography display.
So after these people had sat and watched for 2 hours inside this tunnel, all this weird crap, they had to go outside and watch another 2 hours of weird crap. And it told a story all the way through. But I'll show you a little clip of the outdoor part, which was the last part, before we get into what the story was.
Yeah.
Monsieur Solari, Monsieur Solari.
Wow.
Yeah. So, what you can't. I'm not going to make you all sit and watch 4 hours. If you want to go and find out yourself and watch it, feel free. But it's weird. Basically, the inside part, it was a whole ritual. It was a summoning ritual. They actually summoned Lucifer inside, and there was all this things. There was offering. They were coming in with dead tree branches and making offerings, and then 3 people committed suicide during part 1, and Lucifer was brought into being inside, and it was really long played out. It was all weird. They were going mental. They started off quite normal, and then eventually stripped all their clothes off, and then they didn't have any genders. It was weird, and then they summoned Lucifer. Then they got the whole audience to stand up, and then they went outside, and then Lucifer was like coming from like within the earth in the tunnel into the like our reality through the tunnel entrance.
Oh.
Lucifer comes through, and it looks like CERN's portal. Lucifer comes through. And then you had all these puppets with the, like you seen them there with the huge heads. They were political figureheads, and they were under the control of Lucifer, and he was like working them like a puppet. And then he had sex with one of the women. Was completely gender. There was no genderless people, and a baby was born. They had a baby at the end.
Okay, Jessie, I have to ask you. I have to ask Jessie. Are they doing adrenochrome during this kind of an event? Do you think, or some kind of hallucinogenic to really get into character of sorts? Do you think?
Obviously, I don't know, but my mind goes in so many different directions with this. Like, they're doing this symbolically, very emphatically, excitedly, passionately. This is like a religious experience. It's like science is their religion, right? And they are worshiping their achievements scientifically, but it does seem as if they are using science in a spiritual way, which is almost like some next level stuff that we are not ready for. We don't even understand. But they seem to already have a grasp on it. And they are the same people that want us gone. And it's very concerning. It makes you very uncomfortable. And even if they're not doing anything, why go through all that trouble to freak everybody out?
Exactly.
When you
Go
want
ahead, Lisa.
funding, you want money, you want funding. They're not concerned about freaking us out. They're trying to appease their donors, which is the entire New World Order.
Go ahead, Lisa.
Yeah, one of the interesting parts about this whole ritual was when they were Satan was brought forth out of the tunnel into our realm or whatever. It was like he was coming through a portal from one reality into another. Was the men? It was just like normal men. They were political figureheads. They actually all killed themselves, and then there was a whole thing where they were actually dead, and they were floating up above, and then they had them floating up the screen, and That's when all the metal tubes came up. They were actually dead, and then they turned into locusts, and it was all very weird. And then they turned into these like puppets, like with the giant heads, political figureheads, and they were like completely mesmerized with this giant clock on the screen, as if they were like changing the timeline, and they were like going back and it kept going backwards and then going forwards.
Okay, well, let's get back into the dive here too, because we before a break comes up, and then after the break, I'm really going to blow some minds here with some inside baseball that came my way days ago. Because we have to think about this too, in terms of they want us to know what they're displaying, but it might not necessarily be what they're really doing. We always have to think about that. The options of what's really happening are not always presented on the menu. There's always a secret menu just in these cases. But let's continue here in a deep dive as we go into this CERN Dark Portal Revisited here, shall we?
Yeah, so we'll go back to the slideshow. Right, so Lord of the Dance. Shiva is also referred to as Lord of the Dance. And one of the most important ritualistic dances is called the Tandav. This is known as the cosmic dance of death, and it is only to be performed when the universe needs to be destroyed. And this is what I believe they were doing at this Gothard tunnel, the cosmic dance of death. So is this what we saw when the scientists performed the satanic ritual in front of this statue in 2016? Now, when they done this was also when they were doing this thing at this tunnel, 2016. It was around about the same time. So, if you don't know, back in 2016, a lot of physicists at CERN performed what appeared to be a human sacrifice, or at least a reenactment of one, outside of the CERN Institute in front of the Shiva statue.
Okay. Right. So basically, they're recreating Rosemary's Baby on in an arena-based kind of a setting here. With all their puppet characters, they're taking adrenochrome, they're taking maybe other hallucinogenics we're not even privy of knowing that they've got from the children of Haiti. That's why the Clintons are there with Uma Haberdine and some other people that have now changed their names. But let's continue here.
Yeah, I'm just going to quickly show you a little clip of the ritual for 2016 outside the CERN.
And let me just say, viewer discretion advised. If this is hard for you to watch, we totally understand. You might want to turn your head, but before
we're not going to look at much. We're not going to look at much. It's
we have to understand the enemy before we destroy them. Let's continue.
So here you can see they've got this woman and they're putting her on the floor like she's going to be a sacrifice. These are all scientists. These people are scientists. This was a joke apparently. And they get her on the floor and it appears that they're sacrificing her. And we don't really want to watch a lot of that. But whether it's true or whether it's a reenactment or they really did it, I don't know. And I don't care because why would you reenact something like that? These people are apparently scientists.
Yeah, who are these scientists? Who are these scientists? What do they want? They're the people that are the militant atheists that have they want to destroy the Christianity and the social norms because it is getting in the way of what they're wanting to do to bring the Antichrist back to earth. As this new the Pope Francis falls, the Black Pope now comes to stage. They want to have the setting before the dinner starts, kind of a thing. That's how we see it here. And I also have, Lisa, I don't know if we want to show the science behind the Lord Shiva's cosmic dance. That might be something we want to show, but unless we're going to a different subject here, should I show that?
We're still on Shiva for the moment.
Okay, yeah, let's continue on that. Or? Yeah, do a little more on Shiva, then I'm going to cue up a Shiva dance.
Right. So
please don't dance, Dean.
Don't dance yourself, right?
I won't be dancing, no.
This is the actual statue outside the CERN, and if you look at its eyes are shut. When you look into this, it is written that if Shiva's eyes are half open, it symbolizes the cycle of the universe. When his eyes are fully open, it means a new cycle of creation starts. However, it is said that if the eyes are closed, this signifies the beginning of the end of the universe. So why have CERN chosen a closed-eyed Shiva statue when that's what it signifies when his eyes
So
are
many
closed?
layers. Why Shiva? First of all, the god of destruction and rebirth. Why Shiva? Secondly, why Shiva in the form of destruction of the universe? Thirdly, we could thank Jamie for that
He's doing-
little
Yeah,
fact
he's doing this dance of creation as well.
So let me explain my experience with Shiva. Is I knew a girl. I dated a girl briefly who, unbeknownst to me, was doing black magic, and we found out that she was praying. She was praying and doing spells to Shiva. I didn't know anything about this. This was 2016, and she wound up going crazy. Like the people that you saw there, she wound up going crazy because it can backfire on you. It has you do sex magic, black magic. You're getting photos of what you want. You're putting black candles. All the candle shops in LA are the black magic practitioners. One of the actresses from the movie The Witches from 1994, I believe, actually owns the candle shop. You have Naomi Campbell who goes there. You have the who's who of the rock world. They all go there because virtually everybody in the Hollywood industrial complex from low to high are doing these kind of rituals in a black magic sorcery type of event. Now, let me show everybody this before we get back to this wonderful deep dive of the slides here. Here's the science of what I'm telling you guys behind the Lord Shiva, as they called it. And we're going to get a little glimpse here of how the psychopathic mind operates in this dark portal of a universe. Check this one out.
Presented at CERN, the European Center for Particle Physics Research in Geneva. The statue, which symbolizes the cosmic dance of the creation and destruction of Shiva, was delivered to CERN by the Indian government to celebrate the long association of the research center with India. The author Fritjof Capra first drew a parallel between the dance of Shiva's creation and destruction and the dance of subatomic particles in the Tao of physics. It quotes, "Modern physics had shown that the rhythm of creation and destruction is not only manifest in the turn of the seasons and in the birth and death of living creatures, but is also the very essence of inorganic matter." For modern physicists, Shiva's dance is the dance of subatomic matter. The dance of Shiva represents the dynamic flow and the dance of universe. The dancing universe is a ceaseless flow of energy that crosses an infinity variety of patterns, merging into a universal dynamic interaction. This dance symbolizes the daily rhythm of birth and death and the cosmic cycles of creation and destruction. Shiva is a reminder that the many forms in the world are Maya, not constant, but always change. While he is eternally real and as he continually keeps creating and dissolving the forms in the external flow of his dance. Eastern mystics have a dynamic vision of the universe similar to that of modern physics. The parallel of Eastern mysticism
I'm sorry. I was so overwhelmed by Shiva.
He's a mime. That was really good,
Yeah.
Dean. I've never seen.
No. So what I was trying to say before Shiva rudely muted me is this is what they believe. They believe that this is, Shiva is the rebirth. That so they're looking at it through a scientific, cosmic realm. A little different than the Christian. Peeping hole there. But let's continue here because we have a hard break literally around the corner. But
I've got one more slide on Shiva, and it's probably
Yes.
a good time to take a break after that before we change subject. So
okay, here we go.
yeah, so we've got the eyes wide shut. If you notice on this eyes wide shut before I change to the next slide, not only are the eyes shut, you've got this weird thing, and Shiva is depicted of dancing on this sort of childlike being. So we looked into that and seen what that actually symbolizes, and that is what we're going to get into next. So the childlike being under Shiva's feet is called Apasmara. This being represents the ignorant, deluded being Jiva, who is subject to the triple impurities of littleness, and that means anava, desires, which is pasa, and delusions, which is moha. And I probably pronounced them all wrong, but I'll try my best. And that is caused by ignorance. The purpose of Shiva dancing on this childlike being is apparently to facilitate order by liberating their souls and transforming them under his twin dual-gendered fate. Because as you remember from earlier on, Shiva is half man, half woman, both a god and a goddess. So that you accept your physical identity as your true identity. You're then able to define yourself and relate it to others. This sounds all very like what they're indoctrinating our children with. This is done because you are apparently...
I'm sorry, excuse me.
That's all right, I've got it on my screen anyway.
Okay.
This is done because you're apparently in a state of delusion and unable to tell the difference between truth and lies. So basically, Shiva's going to stand on your children until they accept that they've got to stop being delusional and transform into a different entity, a different gender.
Isn't that something? Isn't that something, Jesse? Here we are. You know, we hear about the John P. Holmgren's Council of 300, the 21 goals of the Illuminati, which one of the goals was to eradicate all gender lines with children. You know, and here we are many years later. We're hearing about hormone blockers. We're hearing about how 20% of Generation Z identify as nothing. They don't believe in gender. It's just a societal kind of a description. No, this goes all the way to the esoteric now to Shiva. Isn't this the case now, what we're discovering, Jessie?
I guess we could say it's full circle.
Yeah, it's full circle indeed. So anyways, I want to get back into this and a whole lot more because we're going to take this quick break now. When we get back, I promised Lisa Duthie and Jessie that I'm going to now offer, after the break, a totally left field inside intel on what seems to be really going on with CERN. And I can tell you it's nothing what we're talking about here tonight. And that seems to be the case with all these world events. You know, like the description says, the deeper you look, the more you will see. So hold tight. You are watching The Lounge here, and we're just getting started. It feels like we just started, but we're going to be back after this break. You don't want to miss what's coming up next, and it's a whopper. Stand by.
Let's all go to the lobby. Let's all go to the lobby. Let's all go to the lobby to get ourselves a treat.
Delicious things to eat.
The popcorn can't be beat. The sparkling drinks are just dandy. The chocolate bars and the candy. So let's all go to the lobby to get ourselves a treat. Let's all go to the lobby to get ourselves a treat.
Well, it's summertime and we are ready to go to the beach, ain't that right, Bubbles? Bubbles, all your friends are here. Come on now, we're going to the beach today because our summer collection is now out. Oh, yes, it is. Yes, that's right, it's Real Deal Meania's summer sale. It is that time of the year where we have to let it all out with our one-piece Real Deal Meania bathing suit. Look at that one piece. It is beautiful, but that's not all. It comes with a Real Deal Meania bikini. Isn't that beautiful? Whoa, slow down there, Bubbles. Shake the We got our Fauci pops. We got our Real Deal Media established swim trunks. Oh, and this tiger is hungry. Look how hungry he is. Ain't no food, ain't no steak. But we also got Real Deal Media leggings. But this bear's hungry too. Oh my God, we got our shirts, we got our hokey pokeys, we got an officer and a gerbil man, and this bear is gonna eat me if I don't get some things. So look at that Real Deal Media icon shirt. Beautiful. Look at that Twilight Zone. Who's that young man there? Oh, but that's not all. You say, what about the beach attire? Well, we got towels. We got a lot of towels. I got a Daydream Believer. We have a Real Deal Media towel in case you get soaking wet on that beach, but you can bring your little fruit snacks and your late night update. You got your little backpack and just pop that man. He goes back to school. Bubba's so happy. He is so happy. Yeah. Well, it's a deal now. I promise to take you to the beach. So go to Real Deal Media's summer sale now. It is beginning. We are so happy. And Bubba's standing on his head, and so am I. Once again, you just get your summer collection on by going to realdealmedia.tv/store. You're going to get all your necessities, your wants, your needs, and everything your heart's desire. I swear. But that's not all, folks. You can now use your promo code, one time only, SUMMER22, when you go to the checkout, and you'll get some additional savings you won't even imagine. Well, my name ain't Cal Worthington. Somebody feed this damn bear. I ain't no pork chop for this, man. Get this file, big always love this old thing.
Okay, welcome back to the lounge here. Welcome back to the lounge. I am still Dean Ryan. I have not evaporated into any dark portal as of yet. I mean, imagine if I snuck into that event, that kabuki theater dance we saw earlier. That'd be great. I mean, just if the footage I would get and the weirdos I would meet. And I still say, no, none of these people, they're no match for an AR-15 and just pure American lead getting pumped in their veins, are they? Just want to make that statement. Anyways, tonight's show is brought to you by our new summer collection at realdealmedia.tv/store. Use the promo code SUMMER22, SUMMER22 at checkout for additional savings. Your purchase fuels this operation and just gives me the strength and the energy to tear our opponents and enemies from limb to limb, because us Americans are stone cold blooded killers who want to just destroy and annihilate these people. But you can do that by starting with your summer purchase. Just wonderful. So thank you for that. And thank you, Cal Worthington, for all your efforts in making this possible. I want to reintroduce the Real Deal Media cast here for the lounge, starting with Jessie, Whitney, who is joining us today from an undisclosed location in a tunnel somewhere in New York. Also joining us back is Lisa Duthie. Thank you, Lisa. And then Jalumbo Jamie is there as a cardboard cutout, as you plainly see. Okay. And
it has been sucked into a portal. So
yeah, it's very unfortunate. Okay, so if you're just joining us, we have seen some just mind-blowing things. We just learned about Shiva. And a lot of this is new for me, other than my close encounter with the Shiva god in real life, which was frightening. I mean, I don't know if you heard, but I mean, we saw stacks and stacks of books from this girl I dated in her room. I had no idea. Garlic salt, black candles, Shiva prayers, and somewhere inside there was a picture of me and Sean Stone that were just getting black magic, boom, against us. We had no idea the whole time.
Wow.
Unbelievable. Okay, so
how do you find these people?
Lisa, she found me. She was sent to find me. They find me. And I would blame Sean for that one on that account there. And Anyways, that's a long story. Okay, I did promise something. Now, I want to read this to you. This came from, I don't want to say his name, but I want to present this. So here it is. From a journalist who reached out to Real Deal Media now. He was investigating the Hunter Biden iPhone cloud hack and the files that were found on there. Now, get this. This is huge. And nobody's talking about this per se, but we're going to talk about it right now. They stumbled across files saying that the truth about what they are doing at CERN. Let me present this to you. They're using CERN to send messages back in time using the particle accelerator. Everyone thinks they're opening portals, but what they're doing is sending messages to the past back to themselves about the future events. Then they're also getting messages from themselves in the future about coming events, which plays into what is that thing, Lisa? Looking glass.
Yeah.
Yes. Thank you. So that's
yeah,
one.
They also had that in their tunnel ceremony with the time going backwards and the politicians and then it going forwards. So it kept shifting.
Now, there's a bit more, and then I'll show the actual files that were found on the Hunter thing here. Okay, or I'll just show it now. Let me see if I can make this happen. But it's hard to read, but yeah. So let me just give you an example here. Okay, the LHC is a collider. It's a giant sensor. CERN is sending data from the past or from now to the past of themselves. In the present, the people in the future let them know what effect it had. Also, people from the future are now sending code, formulas, blueprints, technology advancements to our present to accelerate their agenda, their progress. Furthermore, LHC is smashing the atoms now. The LHC is future past gateway. See, they are using portals, they're using gateway, but it's not necessarily what we think. See, just like the chemtrails are not necessarily what we think it is. There's 3 or 4 different alternative objectives to them. Continuing. So they smash out the atoms hard enough that they split into a subatomic particles. The atoms are made from parts unknown before. Thousands of subatomic components haven't made, they're not official yet. So there's science that a lot of these people are using that we're not privy of knowing. They give us the slave books, and the textbooks are for the peanut gallery. That's what I'm saying. All these options are for the peanut gallery. So it turns out some of these subatomic particles stay in midair. Imagine lightning propagating through the sky, stopping midair, freezing in place. It's just like it's invisible, so that the bloom tail and the particle itself is permanently suspended in air, location vector in after the collision. It will stay forever. It can be detected during collision when the energy is released during each new collision. So there's a lot of scientific, methods and methodology to this going on. And they're sending themselves research results, population numbers, temperature data, economic data, fertility data. Imagine that, fertility data and political information, and they're cheating their way through history, and it's happening right now. And this was found, once again, this was found on the Hunter Biden laptop. What a wealth of information in that treasure trove. Lisa Duthie, comments.
Yeah, there is a possibility that CERN can be used as a time machine. We were looking into that. There was a video that I had of that, and I don't know where I put it now.
Okay, well, she'll find that. Jessie, what say you on what I just read? And maybe we'll take a quick question here from this effective audience around the world.
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah.
I don't know what just happened there, but yeah. And what's really interesting about it is that there are so many collaborators, so many very, very powerful people who want nothing more but more power and less us. Like I said, and they're very open about it. They're very open about guilting us for our mere existence, So it seems very, very likely that that's actually part of what's going on there, at least,
Okay, and then Lisa, I have this video of the Hadron Collider. You want me to play this?
I would play it at like maybe a minute, probably.
Play it about a minute in. Okay, and explain what we're about to see here. Is my computer's about to get thrown out the window from it's just extremely slow progression.
It's
And
basically just like a fact video that for basic people, for NPCs to watch to learn about CERN and the great stuff they're doing for science, which I'm sure
Okay.
they've made some strides, but it's a lady, like a scientist she's talking to the guy and she says something to the effect of, I like to look at it like traveling back in time, like she said it.
aha. Okay, everybody, did everybody hear what Jessie just said? It's like I'm looking back in time. All right, I have it all queued up here. I'm going to play it for the audience before we get back into our very in-depth dive into the dark portals of CERN, which now we know time travel is possible. It just may not be coming from a DeLorean after all, but from an underground machine controlled by satanic transvestites. Okay, so here it is. Check this one out. And speaking of trannies, here we go.
Dr. Morris, thank you so much for being here.
I'm very happy to be here.
So let's start with the layman's terms here. Explain to me as simply as you can, what is the Large Hadron Collider and what does it do?
It is our largest collider in the world. Some people describe it as the world's biggest freezer. It's also the world's biggest vacuum chamber, so it has lots of superlatives. But the goal is to get fundamental particles moving as fast as we possibly can, very, very close to the speed of light, and then we smash them together. We can think about this a little bit like a time machine. We're going back to the conditions that were very soon after the Big Bang. And by doing this, we're able to explore the fundamental particles in the makeup of the universe and the way those particles interact with each other. So the goal really is fundamental science. How does it work?
And this, I assume, is why this thing costs so many billions of dollars and has brought together.
Okay, that's good enough. I think we get the gist here before Stone Phillips tells us.
She's like she's talking to a child. The way she's a tone that she's got. It's like
all
she's
those
trying
things
to
are so
explain to a child that oh, it's fine. We're just going to destroy the universe, but it's fine.
Mm-hmm.
Have a nap.
We're going to create the Big Bang in a lab. What could go wrong?
Yeah. I'm surprised they don't use sock puppets to further explain. But let's continue here on the yellow brick road into the dark portals here of the demented transvestites from hell. Here we go.
Yeah, if you recall from part one, the whole thing that we got into CERN was because of the Astroworld concert with Travis Scott, whereas now I believe he's now can't get anybody to do concerts for him because of the insurance. Now do you want to work with him? So given what we investigated in part one, you want to add something to that, Dean?
Yeah, I do. I do want to add to that because this is very reminiscent. Here, let me leave this on screen. This is very reminiscent to Michael Jackson's career. So what I guarantee you, what's a possibility, I should say, what could happen is you could have an AIG insurance company invest in his next tour or concert. And then what do you know? They have $130 million life insurance life insurance policy on him. And he winds up dead floating down the Hades River there.
Yeah. So if you watched part one, if you didn't, I would recommend you go back and watch it because there's a lot of stuff in there that we didn't get into in this one, but it's all very relevant. We deep dived more into the Travis Scott concert and the use of the flames on the stage. I believe there was 7, Jessie? Seven
8,
flames shooting up.
There were
8.
And
there was actually 8 deaths, and it seemed like it was very ritualistic. And what these people sacrificed, and they had a lot of the use of frequencies, which was very reminiscent because they only allowed people that had been miracled to go in there, and then the frequencies seemed to send them all mental. They were playing this bizarre music to them for about 7 hours before it even started, and it just sent them crazy. And the whole thing was symbolic. You can see on the stage there, that is like a CERN portal. See you on the other side, that goes into the whole thing with the tunnel where you had the devil being bought into being within the tunnel, and then he come through the other side into our reality, and then all hell broke loose, basically.
Don't forget the stage was don't forget the stage was like a mountain, a Swiss-looking mountain cut out.
Yeah, they had the mountains behind. Yeah. So that brings us on to, if I can find my mount, there we go. The Mandela effect. I think you ought to go into this, Jessie.
Yeah. So the first beam was circulated through the Large Hadron Collider on the morning of the 10th of September in 2008. Shortly thereafter, people noticed bizarre changes in the timeline, things they had always believed to be the case, like Nelson Mandela's death in a South African prison during the 1980s, were no longer true. The term Mandela effect was thus applied to this phenomenon in 2009 by Fiona Broom, since its first beam was circulated. Multiple changes have been observed in this timeline, some bigger than others, and these two things could potentially be related. A lot of weird coincidences here, and I think it's very strange that the Mandela effect was coined shortly after they turned it on the first time.
Yeah,
it's almost like
and
they're
also
making ripples in our time. They're screwing with
bizarrely,
our time.
when we were making this slideshow, I was convinced that Mandela should have had 2 L's in it, but apparently it's not. So is that they made a Mandela effect out of the word Mandela? Because I was convinced that I had 2 L's, and so was Jessie.
And a lot of people too are saying the Mandela effect has been going on for a number of years right now. And the perfect example is what we're experiencing right now in present day. How everyone here watching this show tonight, everyone here on this show, all the shows we do, we understand what the main agenda of the world is right now. We understand this is World War III. We understand this is genocide and devolution at its finest happening as we watch people willfully walking into the slaughter. We see it. We get it. We understand it. We're trying to wake people up. But there are people who are getting 3, 4, 5 miracle jabs, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 boosters like it's a venti coffee at Starbucks that will never wake up. That's the Mandela effect, is it not?
Feels like it, because these people I knew them as smart people, and they don't seem so smart anymore. They almost seem just like a robot, it's just creepy. It's weird. People have changed.
There's a lot of very intelligent people doing a lot of very stupid things right now.
You could certainly say that again. Let's continue.
Yeah, so next up, what we're looking, because this tunnel, the Gotthard tunnel, and they've got CERN and everything, we looked at what else is headquartered in Switzerland. It's very interesting. You've got the World Economic Forum in Geneva. We meet in Davos, which is in the Swiss Alps every year. We've got the League of Nations in Geneva, the World Health Organization in Geneva, the World Trade Organization, the International Red Cross, the United Bank of Switzerland. There's quite a lot of banks, but that's the main one in Zurich. The Credit, is it Swiss Group or Suisse? I don't know how to pronounce that, but that's in Zurich. And the International Olympic Committee, and there's a lot of symbolism and rituals go around the Olympic opening ceremonies as well, and that is also based in
And
Lausanne.
they love China. Apparently.
Yeah. Because China has been the model. They built China on the social credit score that was provided by Bill Gates and Microsoft. By the way, it's worth noting Bill Gates took himself off the world's richest man list. There seems to be a change that I don't know. Is it hard to spend money, Lisa Duthie, when you're cow fertilizer?
I don't know. I don't think you can just take yourself off the list. You've either got that money or you're not. So
yes, which plays into that these people could be dead like Soros, but people behind them are still spending the money, and there's white hats who are trying to retrieve the money and take it from them. I think that's what's going on too.
There was something a few years ago where they were apparently him and Melinda were both dead, weren't they? And it was they were listed as dead on I think it was on like Ancestry.com. They were listed as deceased.
Yeah. You mean his lovely wife, Mel?
Yeah, his lovely husband, Mel, yeah.
Oh,
so,
yeah. Excuse me.
Yeah. So that leads you to ask, why Switzerland? Just quickly, though, here we go. A lot of Lucis Trust, which is Lucifer Publishing Company, the World Economic Forum, which we didn't have on the previous slide, but if you look for this red streak going through here, that's another 666 on the WEF. Going through the O's of the World Economic Forum. They just got it in your face everywhere. And so why Switzerland? Allegedly, Swiss neutrality is one of the main principles of Switzerland's foreign policy, which dictates that Switzerland is not to be involved in armed or political conflicts between other states. I beg to differ. The policy is self-imposed and designed to ensure external security and promote peace. It is stated that Switzerland has the oldest policy of military neutrality in the world. It has not participated in a foreign war since its neutrality was established by the Treaty of Paris in 1815. However, The looted Nazi gold that ended up in Switzerland after World War II, the economic ties to the South African apartheid, and more recently their sanctions on Russia say otherwise. So you've got to ask yourself, is Switzerland really as neutral as it claims?
Only if you go along with their thing.
We've got a couple of
Yeah.
slides on that. That's not in the right order. Well, we'll get to this first.
Right.
Switzerland's secret bunkers. Jessie found this. Do you want to go into that, Jessie?
Yeah, sure. Yeah, we found there's a lot of tunnels and stuff. So Switzerland hasn't been engaged in a military conflict for over 150 years, but hidden beneath the country's surface is a vast network of military bunkers and fallout shelters that exist to protect the Swiss people from the potential onset of war and nuclear devastation. Many of these were built during the Cold War, when the threat of nuclear bombs seemed very real indeed. Although the exact number of military bunkers isn't known, a common estimate is that there are around 20,000 bunkers dotted around Switzerland. There are also more than 300,000 private and public fallout shelters in the country. And they're also, in the mountains naturally. They have like some really big, beautiful mountains out there. And I think that gives them a little bit of a geographic advantage, like it's like on purpose. And they're right smack dab in the middle of Europe.
There is the link that I gave you before the show, Dean. That will show you some images to do with that. But you've got to ask yourself, why a country that signed a neutrality agreement in 1815 have got all these nuclear fallout bunkers all over the country and these underground tunnels?
Exactly.
And you don't get involved in any conflicts.
Yes, go ahead, Jessie. And Jessie, while you're talking, I'm going to show we're looking at 16 haunting pictures of Switzerland. Am I set on that?
Yeah, that's the different bunkers that they've got that's like disguised as different buildings. And
Okay, I'm going to show that. Go ahead, Jessie. You wanted to add to the point there of Lisa, while I show the bunkers now in Switzerland, which every despot lives in Switzerland, was educated there. The Kim Jong-un family was educated there. The who's who of the sultans and the princes, all the money is there. And I believe they even took, Lisa, I'd be curious to know, because Switzerland, they do have a Second Amendment for their people, but I bet you, and I guarantee you, they took that out too. They don't even have their own firearms anymore, do they?
I don't know. It's all the money's in Switzerland, though, isn't it? Everybody's got a Swiss bank account when they're doing dodgy things.
Yes. 16 eerie pictures of Switzerland secret bunkers. Okay, well, that looks like
those windows are painted on. Those aren't even real windows.
Oh shit! Really?
Yeah.
They're trying to hide them in plain sight.
No kidding. And what's in these bunkers, Lisa?
No idea. We could ask the same about what's in the underground tunnels and the bunkers all across Britain and America.
Okay, who's in these bunkers is better. They're probably wartime, because when they spread their filth and disease on us, they're going to be in here totally ventilated and just drinking adrenochrome cocktails all night. All right, here it is.
So that is not actually a cabin in the woods. That's part of a military. These are all things that they're hiding in plain sight, and it's all entrances to these.
So this is not the Airbnb I was looking at when I wanted to go to Switzerland.
No.
Okay, thank you for telling me. Oh, there's a little manhole. That's Klaus Schwab's living room. That's where he has his manholes filled. Okay,
I bet he goes in a bunker every single night. That guy.
Klaus Schwab is a manhole. Let's face it.
He kind of is like a evil scientist, or like a mad villain in a movie. Like, I bet he sits in a chair and he hits a button, and then he's like lifted on a hydraulic thing out of the ground, like.
Yeah, he spawns. What's for lunch? See, they even sit on the chairs the wrong end. Look at that. That tells you something.
That's their weird kink. You don't kink shame.
Better pray. Nobody. Okay. This is some weird stuff, Lisa. Eye of the mountain. The hills have eyes. Or okay. Very. Oh, that is creepy. A secret door. Well, if you thought the secret garden was creepy, well, guess again. The not so secret. I'm looking at you.
It's like Minecraft. Someone just dug right in the ground.
Okay. All right, there we have that one. Okay. Very, very. Well, I'm not sleeping well tonight. All right, let's continue now on the what is it now? The Switzerland secret bunkers. There we have it.
Well, that was actually, that slide should have been after the following ones, because that was just going on to like the declassified apartheid profits, nuclear bunkers, and Swiss bankers, showing you that they're not at all neutral. They're not as neutral as they claim to be. A lot of people, everybody knows across the world that Switzerland is a neutral country, but it's really not. So they've done that. under pressure to explain its financial dealings with Nazi Germany because they stole like 20 million Swiss francs worth of gold, and then they claimed it didn't come from people that were murdered by the Nazis, but of course it did.
Yeah,
So they launder Nazi money.
And I also wonder too, what is the consensus of the Swiss people? You know, is there a resistance to this in the country? Is there an opposition party? Is there a militia that just wants to just go, bullets on parade over there during their little Stargate festivals?
It's definitely something that needs to be looked into further, because you don't really hear that much about Switzerland apart from when they're having these things here in Geneva. That's the only thing. You don't hear much about the Swiss politics or the Swiss people. So.
No, that's going to be part 3, but let's continue.
Part 3. Yeah, and then you had the crypto spying scandal in Switzerland. They're not neutral at all. And then
these were fun that we found
come on to
earlier.
this.
Yeah, so
right, Platform Agenda 2030. You've got these countries all over the world, and I believe the top one, that's a Swiss stamp, isn't it, Jessie?
Yep, it's Swiss's stamp. And
if you look at that, it actually says Agenda 2030 on the stamp.
They have their color scheme too. It's like they have their color scheme for all the.
They've got that little magical rainbow.
It's very interesting, and what's really funny about it is that they are trying to almost gaslight us. Like, what? We're not doing anything. Agenda 30 is a good thing, you know? It's like we're gonna make the world cleaner and greener, and we're all gonna eat bugs, and we're gonna be happy. It's gonna be great. We're not gonna own anything. We'll live in pods. It'll be awesome because you're a disgusting human, and we'll live in our nice air-conditioned bunkers with all of our, fancy drinks and everything, and So
they're making this whole Agenda 2030 thing like commonplace. They're putting it right in your face. They've got this platform Agenda 2030 with a little logo with all the different colors in a circle.
It looks like Google too, doesn't it? The color scheme, Lisa.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. So you've got Switzerland, you've got Spain, and you've got Canada putting it on a postage stamp. I couldn't find the actual Canadian postage stamp really quickly this afternoon, but Canada's got a whole Twitter account dedicated to Canada 2030 agenda, and they've got a website as well, just pushing this crap.
I wonder if each one of those little lines in the circle represents one of the nations.
It might
coming together.
Could be a code too. That looks like the collider. Doesn't it look like the collider?
Ooh, a little bit, yeah.
And that comes onto the WEF video, and Jessie, I think you wanted to introduce this and say what this was about.
I love this video. This is my favorite video that exists on the internet today. I think it is a video that really doesn't need much of an introduction, but it was posted in 2016 on all of the social media for the WEF. It appears that it's not on YouTube anymore, but they left it on Facebook. I think it might be on Twitter. I'm not 100% sure, but just play the video because I think it will speak for itself.
Yeah. Go ahead, Lisa.
And here we go. You will learn nothing and you'll be happy.
This is the beginning of the brainwashing here to try to get us used to the idea They make it seem like it's going to be really fun, really great. They flat out tell you that you're going to eat less meat for your health. That's a bold lie. We all know that people need that, and I'm an ex-vegetarian, so I'm speaking from experience.
And billions of people are going to be displaced because of climate change, which
wait
look
for
what
the
they're doing to the weather
climate
right now.
refugees. That's the next thing,
yeah.
guys. I've been saying this for years.
Well, we're all going to be climate refugees.
It's going to be like, instead of having to take the V or the jab or whatever, your new social pressure is going to be to take in a family from Haiti into your home. And
I'm sure.
live in your living room.
Now, this is now, let me tell you, tomorrow, within the next 24 hours, the Biden character is supposed to sign a major climate executive order, climate change executive order, because that's the next, that's where we're experiencing a weather war right now. And it's 109 in the UK. There's fires. They're trying to blow up California. And here's the objective. This is why they're doing this very romantic, how great this all is, because they're anticipating this cataclysmic moment, just like we saw 100 years ago when we saw all the orphans on those old black and white photos on train stalls going to Utah, being ranch hands here, just all these children with no parents. They're anticipating mass death. And so when the new generation rises with no parents now, they want to be the parent. Remember, the Rockefeller Foundation funded the women's liberation movement in the 1960s. They wanted to add another tax bracket, but they also wanted to get the parents out of the home and have the children raised by the state. This is why. So when all the parents are now dying from the miracle jabs and the kids have no one to take care of them, well, they want to be the nanny, the daddy, the mommy, the Shiva. This is why they're doing these little sweetheart little videos. That's the objective here. Let's continue here.
That was it. We just, the final slide is there are no coincidences, and we're going to have this thing turned on for the next 4 years. And I'm sure there's a lot more bizarreness to come, and a lot more they're going to feel about with our climate, our weather, our minds, our children. And that's something that we're going to get into. The whole transgender thing needs to be a different lounge, and we're already starting to get that together. But these people are crazy, and this is what they're doing, and it's all linked back. It all links together, and everything that they do has got a purpose.
So let's kind of give kind of our final thoughts here, and if we see something of essence as a comment, question, or concern, we'll take that accordingly. But Jessie, I have to ask you, because I do have a few inquiries myself. What's the takeaway from this in comparison to what the takeaway from part 1 of the Dark Portals of CERN dive that we did last year? What is the takeaway this time?
Well, I'm going to say this is more of a macro view compared to the other. This is more of like I really wanted to try to touch on some of the things that, especially the WEF thing. It all goes together. Like how all of these things that are happening to us, all of these things that they're doing to us, it's all connected. They're all on the same team. And a lot of us already get that, but maybe you might know somebody that is kind of on the fence. You could show them this video, you can show them and be like, okay, well, this breaks it down a little bit more, cohesively, and just watch it. And they don't have to agree with everything we say, but maybe that might make them think. It might make them just, the gears might start turning, so to speak, because it's got to take something to wake everybody up. This is ridiculous. Like Dean said, we are at war. This is insane. We can't just sit back and just let this happen. This is crazy.
No, we can't sit back, Lisa, Duthie, and let this happen. We're talking about people who, if someone of the sovereign, opposition of them gets into just a bit of power, they know their days are numbered. That's why they're doubling down right now, because they have everything to lose that they have been building up for well over possibly 100 years, since the Federal Reserve came to power in 1913 on that little psyop from the Titanic. What say you, Lisa?
Well, yeah, even if they are using it as some sort of time machine to send like a sort of looking glass thing, they don't know what they're playing with. They're like massive children playing with toys that they don't understand, and it has caused, I believe, the Mandela effects. Was that come into place, and it causes slight changes in the timeline. But if they are sending messages back and trying to influence the future, they're not doing it very well, because we all know that a certain Mrs. Clinton looked into Looking Glass and was told that she would become the president in 2016, and she did not, because they're messing with the timeline, and you've got a butterfly effect there, and not everything is going to work out. That's just one possible conclusion of what's going to happen.
They mess with the timeline and guilt you about eating meat too. That's the funny part. You're a bad person.
I'll tell you,
very naughty.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, look, as a vegan myself, although I do eat chicken, pork, and beef, but it will never work out. But in regards to Hillary Clinton, she is actively the president of the Fertilizer Club. That woman has been dead. People are urinating on her grave, even if they want to give her that kind of satisfaction. But let me tell you, I am very concerned. We should all be concerned because we have to finish the war that wasn't necessarily finished after World War II. It's one thing to stop these active plans, but we have to just destroy these people's lineage, just like the Chinese did to the Tiananmen Square, and just like they're doing to us and our fellow peers. They're destroying the lineage of patriotic people, people that just want to be left alone. They want to make sure we are eradicated so they can raise the future and control the vibrations and the books that we get our education from. Because that's true. Those who control the past control the future and the present. And that's exactly what they're trying to do. And I'm glad that journalists reached out to us. And if you are a whistleblower, and let me tell you something too. I have another whistleblower who reached out to me last night. Oh, that's a big one. Yeah. It gets into Shadowgate. Remember those people from 2020 that I sparred with? Yeah, I'll leave it at that. But you have any whistleblowing activities? Maybe you're a cabana boy for Klaus Schwab. You want to contact us and tell us the truth? Well, here, just contact us at info@realdealmedia.tv, info@realdealmedia.tv. And, they want to inject us with the Fauci poisons. Well, I tell you, we got a bunch of rounds of lead coming their way if we get our way. And I think we are, because these people are going down big time. So that's what we have. If there's a question here, yes, people are asking about the Hoover Dam. Yeah, from what I heard, Mike Adams just told me before the show that the fire has been contained. So they got rid of that. But yes, this is what war looks like. War doesn't knock at your door saying, "Hi, we're the fascists. We're here to kill you and do a war. Get ready." No, it happens in disguise. It's psychological more than ever, and it's invisible, silent, but it is deadly to say the least. So with that said, Lisa and Jessie, you guys did a phenomenal job. I'm very, very I'm going to look into this more actually after the show, but fine job. And we hope people can take this, share it. We're getting shadow banned more than ever, censored, and find us on Rumble, everybody, because our days are numbered, and all of us are numbered unless we take action. So,
just like with everything now, not just CERN, but with everything, including the miracles and everything they're doing, just because you can does not mean you should. And what the hell gives these people the right to do these things and mess with things and speak for billions of people all over the world that they're going to do that and make these decisions on behalf of them? What the hell gives them the right?
Couldn't agree more. So I want to thank everybody for joining us here at the lounge. It's just incredible. We might even do a part 3 the way this is going, but just keep your eyes open and peeled and ears to the ground as we go into the Death Star right now in this pandemic war. It's only heating up from here, but we're on the right side of history. That's for damn sure. So for Lisa Duthie, for Jessie Whitney, I'm Dean Ryan saying thank you for sharing a bit of your night with us here at Real Deal Media's The Lounge. We'll see you again. And always remember to stay tuned and stay awake. This is just getting good. And here we go. Good night, everybody.
Good night.